So if you take a look at the wood trim pieces around the window, they are actually have been shot, like they are in pretty bad shape. So these ones I would not be able to restore. So I found these from somebody that had the same car. I needed a old rag to do the wood stain, so I took an old shirt that I was gonna throw away and I just cut that up and made it into rag pieces. So these are the wood trim pieces that I've already gone ahead and sanded down. So I've done the prep work. And this is the wood stain that I picked up from my local hardware store. And this is the color that I decided I wanted to paint these, stain these. This is the stick that they provided to mix the wood stains. Okay, I'm feeling ready. Let's go ahead and start. So I grabbed my rag that I cut up and then I put my finger and I just dipped it into the wood stain and I made sure not to grab like too much, and then I grabbed the wood trim piece and made sure that I was going in one direction and not the other way, and I slightly just went little by little just to see how it was turning out. And I definitely liked the results in the first few seconds of what I was seeing, as you guys can see. So I decided to continue, and this was definitely my first time actually doing a wood stain project, and I found this to be very relaxing and very calming, and I think it's a new skill that, I just learned, and look at how that turned out. After this one, I continued to paint the other ones and, apply the wood stain. I was definitely happy with seeing the results that I was getting, and I was already on my third one, and I just continued. So these wood trim pieces that I'm painting, wood staining, are the ones that I had bought from somebody from the same car. So since I knew the driver's side was in bad condition, I would be replacing it with this. So this is the next morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and see how the wood trims dried up. So it's definitely, it's been more than 2 hours since I painted these yesterday, and then today is the next morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and touch it. And yeah, it is definitely dry. Last night, I also took out these wood trim pieces from the other windows as well. So these ones, look at the condition, it's not in the best shape. So these are the original ones from the car. They've been like this. And these are the longer ones. These are two from the back window, back pillars. So I'm gonna go ahead and do these as well today. We're gonna go ahead and sand them down, go ahead and do the wood stain, and then let these dry. So this is the before condition. Not in the best shape, so we're gonna go ahead and sand these down. So this is the Gator medium fine sanding sponge that I got. This one, and it actually, so far, it's been really good, and it's been working very easy to work with, and you can just wash it off and keep reusing as many times as you need, which is really, really good. I continued to lightly just sand the wood trim pieces with the gator block that I had. I completed the first one, then I moved on to the next one. After sanding down all the wood trim pieces that I had, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and change the newspaper that I was doing this on because there was a lot of sawdust. So I took the wood trim pieces and put them on the ground for just a good moment, and then I started to remove the layer of newspaper that I had on top. So I thought I will go ahead and dispose this and then come back with another newspaper and just go ahead and layer it up. So this was to protect the table that I was using underneath. I went ahead and grabbed the wood trim pieces and placed them back on the table. Next, the additional step that I took was I took a wet napkin and then I wiped down the wood trim pieces. So this was to remove any the sanding dust from the wood, and just make sure that they were wiped out clean before I started applying the wood stain. So next what I did is I started putting out newspapers on another table that I had accessible. So after doing the wood stain, I'm going to be placing all the wood trim pieces on this table and let them dry. Pieces that you see on the table currently, those are the ones that we have already painted. Next, I started opening the wood stain box and gave it a good mix and made sure that, the paint was fully mixed. And I have gone ahead and painted all the wood trims, and I placed them on the table that I had prepared with newspapers. And all of the wood trims look very, very nice. Definitely better than how their original condition was. So I'm going to go ahead and let them sit here and let them dry. This is my setup outside. So the product that I'm going to be using to spray on afterwards, it's the Crystal Clear Gloss. This provides UV protection as well as mold and mildew resistant. So it seals out water as well. So this is what was recommended while I picked up wood stain. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and we're going to go ahead and spray it down with one coat. So I actually put on a mask so that way I don't inhale the chemicals. Just going to go ahead and shake, give the bottle a little shake. While I was doing the spraying down, I tried to make sure that my hand was steady, and I went from, left to right, left to right. So this is the first coat that I am doing with this. After the wood trim pieces have dried up, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a 220 sandpaper and lightly go ahead and sand it down. So this is to remove any imperfections or any oversprays, and just to make sure that the surface is even. So lightly go ahead and just sand it down very lightly. Make sure that you're doing it lightly because you don't want to remove the wood stain, and you're doing it between each coat. I went ahead and cut the 220 grid paper, the sandpaper that I had, into 4 pieces. I softly sanded the wood trim pieces with the 220 sandpaper grid, and just ensuring that, I'm not getting to the wood stain. So I worked on this one, and then I went on to the second wood trim piece, and I continued to do it for all of them before I sprayed it down with a second coat. After sanding down the wood trim pieces, I slightly wiped them down with a wet napkin and then let them dry. And then once they were dry, I went ahead and sprayed it down with another coat and let them dry. So next comes the fun part. So this was installing the wood trim pieces back in the window trim pieces. So I should have actually, wrote them down, right rear or, front right. So I ended up playing Tetris. The back windows were easy because those were just the long pillars. But the front 2 ones, I ended up playing Tetris and, kind of seeing which one fit. So I definitely recommend, if you're doing this on a classic car or removing any panels, definitely make sure to label them or keep track so you don't run into this issue. After aligning the wood trim piece, I took the small screws that actually came out of the wood trim pieces. So these were very small Phillips screws. So I was putting them back in. This would keep the wood trims in secure and prevent them from falling out. So it definitely took me a while, but I was able to put all the wood trim pieces back for all the windows. And it was definitely a learning experience, a new project, and I found it to be very fun and very relaxing. So I just wanted to say that I hope this motivates other viewers that may be watching this video to do, DIY, a wood stain project, or even if you're trying to restore your classic car, or even just a photo frame at home. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.